back, PremierU family. All right, I got one today that I want to talk about that we get a lot of questions regarding, which is BPC-157. I think most people who think about peptides have heard about this one. It gets talked about, it gets over-talked about a little bit in my opinion, but I do think it has very unique applications and it is very capable. We just have to think about those particular use cases, and also, like we always talk about, think about the environment in which you're putting that peptide. It is not the end-all be-all. We're going to talk about the mechanisms here in just a second, but we want to promote an environment that is favorable for these actions to occur. So let's talk about what is it. So that stands for body protection compound. Most people know that at this point. It is derived from the gut. Our stomachs actually make it. It makes it very unique in that it is very capable of withstanding the peptidases in our gut. So it does have some oral application, meaning that if you take it orally, it does have some applications in the GI tract, and it is very good there. A lot of people want to use it systemically, and as a result of that, you have to get it injectable. That oral formulation does not work great systemically. There are some formulations that utilize saccharose sodium, like SNAC, SNAC, as a delivery mechanism that creates some systemic absorption. You get about 30 to 40%. So if you're wanting that potent systemic effect, injectable is the way to go. So let's talk about how does it work. It's in a 15 amino acid sequence. Its primary mechanism of action is through something called VEGF, specifically VEGF-R2. That stands for vascular endothelial growth factor receptor 2. What that does is it creates a cascade, a signaling cascade through PI3K, AKT, and ultimately eNOS. So eNOS is that endothelial nitric oxide synthase, so the production of nitric oxide. Now, nitric oxide is a very interesting signaling molecule. Yes, it creates potent vasodilatation. Depending on where it is locally, it can travel as well. In addition to that, though, it's also a signaling agent for things like platelets. It keeps platelet aggregation down. It creates changes to leukocyte migration. So the white blood cell or repair cell migration is affected by nitric oxide. So it's doing more than just creating increased blood flow or creating vasodilation. And in addition to that, it does have some promotive effect for creating angiogenesis, so meaning creating new blood vessels. It's sort of setting that stage for endothelial proliferation in addition to the vasodilation. So you're trying to bring more blood flow more immediately and also creating improved blood flow over time and more vessels available for dilation to create that nutrient delivery. In addition to that, and as it relates to eNOS, not only is there promotion of eNOS activation, there's also the inhibition of its removal. So there's something called SRC caveolin 1. So that CAV1 binds eNOS and shuts it off. Well, BPC-157 binds that CAV1 and keeps it from inhibiting eNOS from creating nitric oxide. So in addition to it creating nitric oxide, it's also helping to prevent its removal, breakdown, or a disruption of that feeding pathway. Another big part of this is something called the FAK-Paxillin. So FAK stands for focal adhesion kinase, which then activates the paxillin. So think of that as the cytoskeleton, so that environment outside the cell, and specifically cell motility. We're creating an improved environment for the cells to be repaired, to have structure, have nutrients delivered to them. It's not a change-all agent for all of these things, but what it's doing is it's creating an improved environment where you can get the nutrients where they need to be. It's creating that structure. It's getting delivery of the cellular components that need to be there for repair. And ultimately, it helps to boost that recovery. Some say that it boosts performance. What I think is that it helps you to recover from exertion, from when you stress your body and you need to adapt. It's helping you to control that adaptation and create a more favorable environment for adaptation to occur so that you ultimately become stronger. Now, you will see often it combined with things like Thymosin Beta-4 or TB500, which is a fragment of Thymosin Beta-4. Also GHK-Copper, that's the GLOW peptide stack. There's also CLO, which includes KPV. Those are very interesting. The combination of those are very interesting in that you're having these individual components that each do different things related to repair and recovery. They're promoting their own individual facets, and they are not end-all be-alls. I will say GHK-Copper is very potent and does a lot of things, but it is supported by these other agents. When you combine them, you do get a nice synergistic effect, which allows for you to have a lower dose of them. So that part is nice, particularly from a cost perspective, or just I don't want to take such a high dose of something perspective. It gives this synergism, this nice permissive effect for each thing to do its own job and to do what it does best without overstressing the system. And again, promoting that environment that we want. I hope that this information is helpful. I hope it helps you in your journey to be able to utilize peptides. And I think it's very important that we think about these mechanisms so that they can be applied appropriately, to understand when not to apply them, and also maybe why for some people they just don't work as well as you would think that they would work. And very often it comes to they were at the wrong dose, they came from a bad source, or they were put into an environment that wasn't ready for that. So that's something that we definitely want to work on every time. We always want to be cognizant of that. I hope this was helpful. I hope you have a good day. Take care.